Mom left my sister a set of rules to ensure my safety. From a young age, my biggest fear was listening to the siren of an ambulance and not realizing it was for me. I feared dying and not knowing it. I feared being somehow outside of my body and not realizing it was seriously injured. I feared this even more than experiencing the horrible pain that would indicate being aware of my state. I'm not exactly those people who love being alive. My existence is tepid at most. I couldn't afford going to college, my job is dull, and at 26 I still live with my sister. I just prefer clinging to that than being thrown in the big unknown. I come from a hard-working family. To make ends meet, Mom and Dad slaved themselves. Dad had 2 jobs, and on weekends Mom took my sister Sibel and I to sell homemade sweets in the park. We never had unnecessary expenses. Our clothes were hand-me-downs, except our birthday suits. Our books were usually borrowed from the local library. Our furniture was from garage sales, and I probably spent more time at thrift stores than at my grandma's house. We never had unnecessary expenses but one, incense. It didn't even smell nice, and I remember thinking it was incredibly pricey. Mom never explained to me why she bought them, but Dad was completely unbothered by such a waste of money. She lighted them every day, religiously. When I was 20, Mom and Dad moved from our 2-bedroom apartment in the city to care for my grandmother. I was happy with the privacy, finally my own bedroom. Sibel, 2 years my senior, got the slightly bigger bedroom that used to be our parents'. Before leaving, Mom of course gave us the sermo in Monte, repeating over and over every instruction she deemed necessary: lock and chain the door every night, don't invite stranger men in, wash white clothes separately, you get the gist. She then talked in whispering tones with Sibel. It was months later that I found my sister's notes regarding the secret instructions. Some of them were about me, while others just didn't make any sense. Mom's special rules. Always have handmade verbena incense at home, and light it every day. 1 a day is usually enough, unless something weird starts to happen, you will know. All the doors and windows should be closed by nighttime. It's your duty to check 3 times. At least once a week, while Bianca is asleep, do the chant I've taught you years ago. For that reason, you two can never be apart for over a week, unless, of course, she's with me. Pools in the sea are still off limits for her. Don't encourage her to get over this fear. The same goes for shaving her head. Your sister can never see her own scalp. If your sister is ever on a serious relationship and plans on living with this person, you must pass the instructions to them. At the time, I thought it was just a bunch of superstitious bullshit. I loved Mom, but she was a little bit crazy. Almost 6 years went by. Sibel lights the incense every day. I don't have money to travel, so I'm never away from her from over a week. I'm still afraid of bodies of water and have no plans of shaving my head. So far so good, and I didn't give this list a second thought for a long time. It was only recently that I remembered those rules, because my fiancé inexplicably ended our relationship. So I confronted my sister. What possibly could you have told Damien to make him dump me? I asked, enraged. I really loved this man. It wasn't fair that whatever madness Mom and Sibel believed could affect my life this way. She looked surprised, but surprised that she was busted, not surprised by a baseless accusation. What do you mean? She asked, pretending to be calm. I know that Mom gave you some weird instructions about me. And she said that you'd have to tell anyone I'd marry about them. She seemed to be at loss for words. Well, Bianca, why don't you ask Damien? I'm sure he can tell you I did nothing wrong. Her deliberate choice of words and the fact that she knew that he suddenly didn't want to see me again really hurt me. I was filled with hatred. Fine. Let's see what happens if your dumb set of rules is broken. I yelled and locked myself in my bedroom. Then I left home while she was at work. To me, it feels like our fight was weeks ago, but it was only November 8th. I took a bus and decided to spend some days with a friend in a nearby town, away from my sister. Once I proved that she and Mom were being ridiculous, they would apologize and hopefully undo the harm they did to my relationship with Damien. Of course Sibel and my parents wouldn't stop calling and texting me, so I decided to turn off my phone. I wouldn't tell anyone where I was. I wanted peace. I wanted to show how superstitions were dumb. On the first 3 days away from home, I felt terribly ill, but I figured my body and mind were just tired from everything I've been through, my exhausting daily job, the whole ordeal with my fiancé, fighting with my sister for the first time in my life. My friend got me some cold medicine, and I spent most of my time sleeping in her guest bedroom. But November 11th started off completely different. I didn't feel exactly ill. My body felt numb and my mind was hazy. Suddenly, my memories seemed to be locked away too far from my reach. Did I have a childhood best friend named Felicia, or did I dream it? How many cousins do I have again? I keep forgetting them even though we are close. What are the names of my previous boyfriends? I didn't date a lot of people and I'm not one to forget those things. And the pool. Everything goes back to being really little and hitting my head in the edge of a pool. I never remembered this before. Am I dreaming this? I feel anguish and I listen to distant sirens. I then wake up and try to read words on my computer screen, but they become incomprehensible symbols. I then wake up again and write this story, but no one reads it. No one sees me. No one replies. No one cares. I then wake up and the next day is November 11th again. But I'm not sure if it's this November 11th, because I keep seeing a little girl in a pool and she's bleeding and she looks like me. There's a slightly older girl with her, holding her deformed, broken down head. My parents are there. They are young and somehow I know that the huge house with a pool is theirs, even though it doesn't make any sense because they both worked 70 hours a week just to afford a small apartment. But they are crying and screaming about how they'd give everything they have in exchange of their child back. I wake up again and write this again and try to read again and words have no meaning again. Am I awake? Have I ever been awake? Have I been actually awake in the last 20 years? I have been in this loop over 30 times now. Every time I write pretty much the same post, but my message never goes through. Every day I think about apologizing to my sister. I want so bad to tell her where I am so she can use the fucking rules, but the messages aren't sending and my friend's house is empty. The streets are empty. There are no buses and no cars, just silent houses. I'm scared, but I'm trying again. I have a feeling that this time it will reach someone. I came to understand that I am stuck in some sort of limbo between life and death, but maybe others are too. So if you're reading this, I have bad news and good news.